प्राइम मिनिस्टर शहबाज शरीफ ने डेली मेल न्यूज़पेपर से डेफामेशन का केस जीत लिया है और डेली मेल ने न सिर्फ डेविड रोज़ की जो न्यूज़ स्टोरी थी उसको डिलीट कर दिया है, बल्कि उसके साथ साथ शहबाज शरीफ से उन्होंने माफ़ी भी मांगी है। इस पूरे केस को शहबाज शरीफ के बिहाफ पर रन कर रही थी जो बरतानिया की मशहूर डेफामेशन की लॉ फर्म है कार्टर रक, उसकी बैरिस्टर एंटोनिया फोस्टर, जो इस शहबाज शरीफ के बिहाफ पर उन्होंने इस केस को रन किया और उनके लिए उन्होंने केस जीता। हम एंटोनिया फोस्टर से जानते हैं कि 3 साल में मुख्तलिफ मराहल क्या आए और क्या वो जो शहबाज शरीफ की जो डेली मेल ने जो माफ़ी मांगी है उसको वो कैसे देखती हैं। एंटोनिया, यू हैव बिन रनिंग दिस केस फॉर मिस्टर शहबाज शरीफ. How do you see the outcome that the Daily Mail has now apologized to your client and the defamatory article has been removed?
It's a very welcome outcome indeed. The article was published July 2019, which is, quite some time ago now. So for the Daily Mail finally to apologise and to remove the article is a great outcome indeed. It's just a shame it didn't happen a little earlier.
Is this the outcome you are looking for, and what were the instructions of Mr. Shahbaz Sharif for you?
It would be no surprise to learn that Mr. Sharif's prime objective at the time the article was published was to have it removed and to get a form of apology. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that without issuing proceedings. We had about 6 months of pre-action correspondence. Proceedings were issued in January 2020, and regrettably it's taken until now to get to where we are, but it's a very welcome result at the end of the day.
There were 2 issues in the article. One was about the National Accountability Bureau and the other related to Department for International Development funding allegations. Can you please explain to us in terms of what have you achieved? What were you asking Daily Mail to do?
We were complaining in respect of both those sets of allegations. The DFID allegations were, I think, of particular importance to Mr. Sharif because they were very serious indeed, alleging that he'd effectively embezzled aid money sent by the British government. Those were always his primary concern, and it's those allegations for which the Mail has apologised. The NAB allegations are subject of separate criminal proceedings in Pakistan, and we await the outcome of those in due course.
There has been some confusion as to what Daily Mail has actually apologized for. So you confirm that the apology is specifically in regards to the allegation related to DFID aid, and every allegation has been withdrawn.
So the headline of the article in the Daily Mail related specifically to the DFID allegations. However, there were other allegations within the article about the matters that are now before NAB. Now that's a matter for the courts in Pakistan to deal with. So the Daily Mail's apology is specifically in relation to the DFID allegations, but they have withdrawn the whole article.
After the article was withdrawn, the reporter in question, David Rose, did some tweets and he said he stands by his allegation.
Well, the article coming down is obviously very helpful and very good news. Of course, it's an out-of-court settlement. The article has come down, so and that is one of the terms of settlement, that it should come down, and that's what's happened.
You had started this case for Shahbaz Sharif 3 years ago from this very office, and at that time you were hopeful, optimistic that you are going to get a desirable result for Shahbaz Sharif. So what were the reasons for your belief that Mr. Shahbaz Sharif was going to win this defamation case?
Well, Mr. Sharif has always been incredibly clear that the allegations published by the Daily Mail were completely wrong and false and should never have been published. It's a shame that the article ever appeared before at all. Litigation is always the last resort for most claimants because it's incredibly stressful and time-consuming, and particularly if you happen to have a very high-profile job, as Mr. Sharif clearly does. We were always hopeful that we would get the right outcome, and I'm very pleased with where we are today. I hope very much that Mr. Sharif feels that he has been vindicated in relation to the DFID allegations in terms of whose credibility has been.
You have been speaking to Mr. Sharif throughout. Is he happy with the outcome that you have achieved for him?
Yes, I believe him to be very happy that the very serious false allegation about embezzling grant aid money, finally there's a public apology saying that that was never the case.
During your 3 years of negotiations with Associated Newspapers Limited, the publishers of Mail and Mail on Sunday, was the paper at any stage able to provide any evidence of corruption or any evidence that the paper, about which the paper had made allegations of kickbacks, corruption, money laundering, etc.?
I can't talk about the settlement negotiations. They're confidential between the parties. What I can say is that when the Mail on Sunday put in its defence, which it did in February 22, earlier this year, it categorically stated that it was not seeking to defend the DFID allegations, that it couldn't do so. In terms of the other allegations, as I understand it, it was a complete repeat of all the allegations that are in the NAB proceedings. So as far as we can tell, there's no evidence of independent information around those allegations. But as I say, I'm sure that's a matter for Mr. Sharif's lawyers in Pakistan dealing with the NAB proceedings.